And then I'm going to do my ads, and then I'm going to start this. Ads, and then I got a YouTube video to do. Do you actually put this on your head? Yeah. Dude, it smells like paint? Yeah, because I spray painted it. So I spray painted it. Not bad, right? Yeah. You look like you graduated in '85.
So we'll start the video like this.
Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1. To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by PB and Joey. Simple, honest, and delicious. Or go to pbandjoey.com for more information. $35 or more free shipping. pbandjoey.com. It's pbandjoey.com.
If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and... So...
What time is it?
It's already 3 hours long.
Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, streaming live from the Spare Parts Studios, Johnny Monotone Studios. So you can find me on YouTube at the positivesarcasm.com podcast. I stated it 2 times before, but I'm going to say it again. That's my new YouTube channel. I have my regular one, which you can subscribe to, and then I got my Positive Sarcasm podcast, which I upload all the clips from Facebook and Instagram up on YouTube. So now there's more shit out there with my face on it. But you can also find me on Facebook.com/POS Sarcasm for the live stream. Johnny Montone's in the studio. Cafe Du Monde is in the house for coffee. But he hasn't said anything nice about my shirt, so let's fuck him.
Oh, that is a nice shirt.
John, you know how insecure I am about my look, so I need any type of encouragement necessary.
Is that a medium? Because
this is a medium, but
it's kind of tight on you.
No, well, it hasn't gone through the wash yet. I'm actually hoping to type a little bit more. Because here's the thing. Obviously, you have winter and then you have summer. And some shirts that look too like ratty and like long on me in the summertime.
Right.
In the wintertime, those are small. So I need to buy mediums and larges. So I've got polos for like if I'm going to be playing Hugh Jackman's stunt double, or if I'm going to be in the wintertime like beefing up and I look like, I have edema or something. So
you're like the bodybuilding version of Oprah. Like you come and go.
Yes, that's exactly who I am. It's the bodybuilding version of Oprah.
Except you have to pay for your tan.
Yeah. Well, I did do the fake bake obviously once, but then I also did. That shit is expensive. It's
like $30 a session.
The spray tan stuff is like between $30 and $50 a session, which I mean it is. Believe me, if you want something done right, she does do it right. Most of them should. But the ones I use on like an every daily or by daily.
You talking about Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan.
You should throw a plug in for Ryan.
Golden Standard.
Golden Standard
spray tan. If you are in the New Hampshire area, which you probably aren't, go. You can check in. She's in Manchester. Just look at Golden Standard spray tan. She's on Facebook.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. That girl's.
Tell I haven't been there lately.
Well, I usually. She made fun of mine because I use the bottom of the barrel stuff, the Jergens, every other day, but it works. For competition, though, it's completely different. You have to basically go out there like chocolate body. You have to be careful you don't use the wrong stuff on your face because then it looks like you're going to be the next scandal. Yeah, legit. I'm glad that I never posted it. I deleted a lot of my bodybuilding stuff. I got rid of it. There were some that were really bad. Like call me mammy type of shit. I was told to do this as far as like the tan that I should put on my body. And then when I realized how bad of a job this person was doing, not to mention the fact that they were spending less time focusing on my nutrition and too busy fucking everybody else with their girlfriend, then I learned that you don't use like Dream Tan. There's Dream Tan and then there's Pro Tan. Pro Tan is non-Vaseline based. And it just looks better. And then they have the bronzer, which you use the next day. So you do 3 coats the night before of this stuff, before you go on stage. Because people don't realize, you have to have, the only way to see more definition in your body is if you're tan. The more tan you are, the more people see your definition. Then you get under the lights of the stage, and those are bright lights. They're almost blinding. So you have to be.
So it's like a shadow kind of thing.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. So you go on stage. The darker you are, the better. Even the black athletes or the dark skinned athletes, they'll use it too. And then they'll use like a sheen or a shine or an oil because that will reflect even more. So I'll put 3 coats of Pro Tan on the night before. And in the morning of, I'll put on an additional one. Then when I get to the show, I'll put on a bronzer. And that is pretty much it. But it washes off much easier. It washes off much easier, and it looks 10 times better. Whereas the Vaseline stuff was like fucking mud in the springtime.
I can't even picture that.
You don't. Well, I'm glad you can't picture because you will find no pictures of me out there. They're embarrassing. Not because it makes me look like I did something scandalous, but it was a bad job with bad decisions of the
You must feel like you went mud wrestling to put this stuff on.
Oh yeah, I have a pair of white trunks that I sat in them for too long, and then when I went right before I went on stage, I checked them. It looked like I shit myself. So I had to change to my backup pair. But then when I switched over to Pro Tan, I never had that issue again. This stuff is that legit. Like the last show I ever did, or at least for now I've ever done, was the best tan I've ever had. My buddy Bobby put it on me, for Christ's sakes. So it's super easy to put on. The other stuff, it's just disgusting. And if you sweat on stage, it's even worse.
And then it runs.
And yes, and there's the thing is a lot of in the league that I would compete in, the NPC, a lot of guys obviously are running shit. So depending upon what they're running, their body temperature goes up. And when their body temperature goes up, they start to sweat. There was one guy, he was a physique athlete. They wear boarding shorts. We wear boarding shorts. Also known as men's bikini. What would happen is his core temperature went up. He started sweating, and then his paint basically started to sweat as well. And it looked like he got shot because it was all sweating down the bottom, up from the middle of his chest, through his solar plex, down to his rib cage, and into his boarding shorts. It just looked like it was just a mess.
It's like a hot mess, like Tammy Faye Baker.
Yeah, and basically you have to go backstage and reapply it. You have to go back and reapply it. But when you're on stage, that's it. And people are looking at you. People see you.
Yeah.
And I'm making fun of you. And I'm right up front. So you can hear me.
Right.
Okay.
And you're filming.
Oh yeah, I screamed out, "Somebody get him an ambulance!" So I want to mention some security features today. My pissiness with Windows and how I'm trying to abandon some of it on some platforms.
Right.
I wanted to talk about the new concept cars that are coming out. That's the CES showcase. We could talk about coffee. You wanted to mention something about nutrition. You were saying you're taking over the grocery shopping, right?
Yeah, so I had a question about chicken. Like,
right.
Does it matter
Let's
what kind of
talk about
chicken you buy?
Yes.
I've heard it goes to China and comes back, and it's not really...
Okay, well, did I talk about chicken last week? Yeah, I did. I talked about KFC. Well, that was because of the vegan burger.
Now, I heard KFC's got new owners. Oh, no, that's just...
Wait a minute, hold on.
That's just Franklin.
Okay, so... Alright, so here's what you want to know about chicken. If you're going to shop for chicken, we'll start from the roots of my nutritional knowledge.
Right.
Generally, any meat that's factory farmed and not grazed or grass fed, or the happier the animal or the more wild the animal.
Yeah.
Generally, I'm not going to say anything about fat content because it differentiates. Wild animals generally have lower fat. Farm raised, more fat content. If they are not, grass-fed animals or something like that, then what happens is they will build up more fat, or if they're fed if they're fed things like sunflower seeds and stuff like that, anything that is like soy-based or can up the estrogen markers in the animal, a lot of that will pass on to the consumer.
You are what you eat.
Yes. So if you're eating a grass-fed raised animal, or for example, a bear in the wilderness, you'll see some bears, they'll eat a bear, they'll open up its skin, there'll be like blueberries in the skin, in the fat. So you get that flavor in the meat. But then of course, bears also eat fish. So if they're eating fish, you're gonna taste it in the bear. And a bear, it's a bear.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with chicken, or with poultry in general, Poultry retains a lot of the nutrients or whatever else you put in it. So when you eat it, you're taking in a lot more of that. So if you eat eggs and you eat chicken or you eat turkey, if that animal is high in estrogen because of the food that it ate, you're going to take in as much as that as well. So if you're eating a lot of eggs that are not fresh, raised, properly grain fed, they're fed basically shitty food. They're pumped full of steroids. They're high in estrogen.
Right.
You know, they could say organic, like, oh, we organically fed them sunflower seeds, or anything that's high in estrogen or high in soy. Just soy in general. Go with that, because I could be wrong about certain types of grains or whatever, or seeds. But for the most part, if it has a lot of soy in the product that they eat, you're going to be taking in a large amount of that. And poultry is the biggest offender when it comes to that. Now, what you need to do is, number one, try to limit your intake of, and I don't care. I get why. But keep this thought in your head. The idea of factory farming and then wild, and then veganism, and then global warming and climate. We'll get that. Keep it in mind.
Some of it's marketing too, right?
A lot of it is a lot of things, but I want to press on the important stuff because it matters, and I have a thought about it. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not going vegan. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat. I think it's important. I think it's valuable, and I think the nutritional values for what I can do, I need it. It's in my genetics. However, for your shopping, we'll answer that question because I do this a lot. I go off on tangents. The idea that you are buying chicken, you need to buy organic if you want to. If you can afford it, go organic. And if you can't afford chicken, go buy fucking pork. Just go buy pork. All right, it's not as aggressive in maintaining higher estrogen counts in your body than chicken is. But if you are going to buy chicken, try to buy organic. If you are buying from a larger label, like say Purdue, okay, or then you check Purdue's background and see if they have a better feed history. See if they feed their animals better. Like for example, if you buy eggs at the grocery store, there's the ones that are like you can get them for like $1.19.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to eat those.
No. It's like 99-cent bread.
Right, I can taste. Yeah, but 99-cent bread is still delicious. The idea is, if you're buying those, the animals are treated like shit, they were fed shit, therefore you are going to feel like shit compared to if you were eating something higher in value. When I was eating chicken and red meat and avocados in my high-fat keto-ish diet,
right.
I was down to 7.5% body fat. But when instead I ate a lot of eggs in general, not as many avocados. We're cost-saving, we're cost-efficient. I was eating a ton of eggs. I got down to same regimen, and my testosterone hasn't changed, okay? I was single then, and I'm single now. So I wasn't out there busting nut everywhere. I was literally focused just on my diet, and that was it. I noticed that I wasn't losing as much body fat because my testosterone was being, I think, in theory from what I looked at, because I didn't get blood tests because blood tests are expensive, I wasn't losing as much body fat, I was doing the same amount of things, and it just wasn't working. There's a lot of different factors, obviously, that people could argue why that was, but I only got down to 10.5%. Not even, about 10.5%, 11%.
Yeah.
When I started adding in other healthier fats and other healthier meats, I felt more energy in the gym, and I felt that my body's fat was easier to get rid of. It was just like that. So this year I'm not, and then I did the cycle again. I started off with a lot of eggs, and there wasn't a lot of progress, and I didn't feel strong. But then as I was going into that, where I was losing a lot of the leftover glucose in my body, and changing over to avocados and red meat and stuff, energy came back, and the fat loss continued right off, no problem. And I got down to easily 10% with only 2 months of that regimen of weight loss. I was stuck at 13, 14 before then.
Wow.
So, and that's just a big rough draft version of the whole diet plan. I'm trying to paint a broader picture here, not a Bob Ross painting, much bigger and shittier than that. That you have to, if you're going to buy poultry.
He put his face on an energy drink. You believe that?
Well, it's probably called Happy. Welcome to Happy. I can this can for you.
Happy energy, I think it's supposed to go.
So the idea that what you want to take into account is that if you are buying chicken, try to buy organic if you can.
Right.
the type of meats that you want to buy as far as chicken goes, the cuts.
Mhm.
Well, the best parts that I personally enjoy are chicken thighs because you get a lot of fat, you get a lot of dark meat, which is more nutrient dense, so you get a lot of protein as well. And they're just easier to cook because they retain a lot of their fat, they don't dry out as much. Chicken breast is obviously the leaner cut. But also take into account that, I should have put that on you. The idea that if you take that into, it'll dry out, it's not as tasty unless you do it right.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, how to bake it. You can take that, you put it in a little bit of water, you cover it with aluminum foil in the oven at like 400 degrees. It will retain a lot of its juiciness, a lot of its flavor, and it will still bleed. So it'll bleed out a lot of any extra fats that are in there. You're getting, and if you are buying good chicken breast, then your body will benefit because of it. But you have to know the source. And with chicken feed, that's such a wild card because they could say you can get US certified organic eggs or certified organic chicken. What are they serving them? What do they get? What animals? What are they feeding these things?
Right, you gotta trace it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to do. So
Right.
if you are going to buy poultry, just take that into account. But yes, the healthier the animal that you buy, the better off you're going to be. And with chicken, it's even more important. With fish, it's still expensive no matter what you do. If you're buying tilapia, you're basically buying the hookers of the sea. They fucking eat anything.
Yep.
So you can't really eat tilapia. They're high in, most fish nowadays are high in mercury. There's a lot of trash out there, so they don't eat very well. And it's just expensive. I mean, I would love to eat more fish, but the fact is if you're eating fish every day, you're taking in a high amount of mercury, and it's just not good for you. Pork is a different animal because the nutrient content is completely different, but you can still get clean cuts of pork for cheap price. The problem is that when it comes to factory or farming, a lot of animals are treated like shit. Which it sucks. I don't like that. But if you are a hunter, then it's different. Then you go out there, you get clean cuts of animals, stuff like that. And if you are shopping, my idea of shopping is this. If you are going to buy animal products, try to buy the most nutrient-dense ones. If you are going to buy chicken, buy the dark meats. Buy the little livers and the hearts if you can. Chicken hearts would be awesome. If you're going to buy the ground beef, fine, you buy ground beef. Don't get 73-23. That's like welfare system fucking ground beef because it all ends up being fat. And it's not, and that fat content doesn't have a lot of nutrient dense in there because it's probably factory farmed. That animal is treated like shit. I'm just stating facts here. I'm not stating where my political, because I don't discuss this shit. I'm just talking about the actual facts of what I know to the best of my knowledge. And if you are going to buy ground beef, first of all, ground beef is great because you can modify it however you want with whatever product you want. In my opinion, ground beef makes everyone happy.
Yeah.
If they made a coffee taste like ground beef, I'd drink it. Actually,
Ground beef
that's
is
pretty much
beef.
Cafe Bustelo. Cafe Bustelo is ground beef.
It's
So,
it's good stuff. This is very good.
yeah, Cafe Du Monde. Yeah, this was given to me as a gift. This is
It's
the
like coffee of the month.
coffee
Cafe
and
Du
chicory.
Monde.
I don't even know what chicory is, but yeah, if you guys,
That's a filler, actually.
is it?
Yeah, chicory.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
I haven't.
doesn't taste like it. It doesn't taste. Chicory is like kind of bitter.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it was free, so I'm happy with it. It's definitely got a bite to it. It's on the level of Cafe Bustelo. I have the French roast version of this as well. Once I bury this can, I'm gonna jump into that. And then what's after that? Probably the Wicked Joe's, which I've had before previously in the podcast, but it's not up on the wall of fame yet. I do the horseshoe. When you walk into a grocery store, you have your fresh produce and everything. And I talked about this, but we'll talk about it because it is important. Repetition is a daily thing. Okay, it's not like going to church every Sunday. Repetition is a daily practice. When you go into the grocery store, which I generally do every day, which I should probably rotate because I think the girls at the cash register will probably think I'm stalking them or some shit because I'm constantly in there. Hey, I go through a lot of food. What do you want me to tell you? So when you go in, start with your fresh produce. I don't care wherever you get your apples. If you like apples, how about them apples?
How do you like them apples?
Bananas, shit like that. Okay, fine. Go and get your vegetables, peppers, kale, spinach. If they're in the bag, if they're fresh, I don't give a fuck. Whatever your preference is. Go through there. Go past the deli counter. Don't stop at the deli counter. Do stop at the cheese section, though. Definitely stop at the cheese section. Grab yourself a good thing of cheese. There's always two cheese sections in the grocery store. There's the one near the meat counter, which has the really good cheeses, expensive ones that are paired with
Then there's
wine.
the sliced cheese.
Well, then there's the cheese section in the dairy section,
Right.
which has some good cheese, but it ain't the shit. It ain't like that Parmesan brick that's like $22 for like.
It's like the dark purple square in the Monopoly.
Right. It's like that's the good. Like that's that good stuff. That's like if you're gonna go get a box of wine, a bottle of wine, a box of wine. Well, some people have their standards. You go there, skip the deli counter, get some good cheese because you never know when you want that. It's a healthier fat. The longer the cheese is aged, there's no carbs in it. When you buy cheap cheese, there's carbohydrates in it.
Interesting.
Yep. So when you buy really aged cheese, you don't get any carbs. You just get fats. And it's an easier dairy to digest. Cheese is actually, I find that for me, cheese is easier to digest than like regular milk, pasteurized milk.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm actually considering looking at like, raw milk. I want to try it out and see how it works. So then go to your meat section, which for most people is right up against the wall. So you're doing that. You're in the middle of the horseshoe now.
Yeah.
You go and you look at your meats. You grab some meats. Skip the whole middle section. Skip the whole middle section for now, or in general. The only reason you should be going into the middle section is to grab olive oil, coffee, and maybe peanut butter. Maybe peanut butter. That's it. There's really no reason to go out there for anything else.
Well, you really should be getting peanut butter from PB and Joey.
You could. I actually am considering setting up a thing and for every guest getting a free jar. Giving them a free jar. Just because. Why not?
Cool.
Yeah, maybe get some fun people. I have been talking about people getting some other...
I gotta put it in order for PB and Joey.
I got 2 potential guests coming up. One's going to be done here, a voiceover actress, and then I got to go down to Derry at another studio and argue Star Wars with Turcotte. That's going to be interesting. So we got to go through 9 movies, and I'm not going to talk about the spin-offs like Rogue One and Solo. I'm not going to talk about those. Right. So I got to go to war with him basically on that one because it's pretty public on this podcast that I fucking despise The Last Jedi, and because of The Last Jedi, I boycotted Rise of Skywalker. But that's a whole ball of shit I'm not unwinding right now. Not doing it. But you're going to skip that entire middle section unless you're going to get olive oil. The rule of thumb is for olive oil. Whoosh. Rule of thumb is if you're buying olive oil, always get extra virgin. Always get extra virgin. Make sure it's not blended. Make sure it's not, just make sure it's not blended. I don't care if it comes from California or Italy or Spain. Just make sure it's extra virgin olive oil that's not blended. Do not buy truffle oil. Truffle oil is not real. It says truffle oil. Look at it again. It's flavored. It's perfume.
Well, it's like white chocolate. It's not really chocolate at all.
I don't know. I have to look at it. I got a big brick of it.
Yeah, white chocolate's good, but it's not
It is
chocolate.
delicious. It's white chocolate. That's why. What is it? I don't know what it is. I have to look it up.
It's like sugar and
Let's look it up.
spice and.
Let's Google this.
Let's Google white chocolate.
What? We'll do this. What is white chocolate?
There was something else that's called whatever. Well, you go down to the grocery.
Don't make us racist, John. For those who think white chocolate isn't real chocolate. Oh wait, it's Washington Post. Never mind. Don't move. All right. I can't do it. I have my sources. I'm not going to talk about why, but that isn't it. Okay. White chocolate is a chocolate confection made from cocoa butter, sugar, and milk solids. So in a lot of ways, it is chocolate, but it's not like super chocolate.
But it's not like cacao.
It is cacao, but it's cacao butter.
No, that's cocoa butter.
Is a chocolate confection made from cocoa butter, sugar, and milk solids. White chocolate does not contain cacao solids, which are found in other types of chocolate. It is characterized by pale ivory color. Yeah, we know! Sorry, I got a little upset today. The melting point of cocoa butter is only cocoa bean component of white chocolate. It is high enough to keep white chocolate solid at room temperature, blah, 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 blah. Composition does not, okay.
So it's a little bit of chocolate.
It's marketed as white chocolate. Okay. So is it actually white chocolate? No, because it can't be. White chocolate, you can't make dark white chocolate. Like, you can't make that bitter and 80% dark chocolate in white chocolate.
Right.
Or maybe you could, I don't know. No, I don't think you could.
No.
It'd be delicious. It just makes shit up in my head. Yeah, Klingons are real. The very question Raul...
I'm almost wondering, like, if you took white chocolate and dark chocolate...
It's called a black and white cookie.
But could you make a peanut butter with that?
Yeah, of course you could.
That would be interesting.
Dude, I can make a pork chop peanut butter.
I think you
Oh,
tried it.
fucking, there's
You tried it one time and said, no.
There's a little hoof. There's a little hoof in there, like a
just
pork
put the
hock.
scotch away now.
I poured alcohol into it too, and I burnt out the blender. What happens is if you put alcohol in a processor when you're trying to blend peanuts,
Yeah.
the sugar in the alcohols heat up and bind the processor.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
bringing everything to a screeching halt. It's like pouring sugar in a gas tank, dude.
Yeah,
And it stops everything.
No kidding.
Yeah, so so I had to pour more oil in there, and literally at this point I was just spinning the oil. And the peanuts or the almonds, which almonds are impossible to fucking blend either, they just kind of spin around at that point. Because there is a method when you're doing certain butters, when you're
Probably
blending
put
them.
those in a coffee grinder, can you?
I would not try that.
Almonds?
No, I would not try that.
No.
You will burn out that motor so fast. That's designed. First of all, it's easy to break up because here, almonds
You
generally.
probably get a grinder down the smoke shop to do the almonds.
Well, if I was getting one of those out of the smoke shop, I'd be finding my time to do other things with that grinder. The idea is that with almonds, there's not a lot of oils in them, so when you blend them, it's much harder to blend them down. Coffee beans are already in the oven, so most of the almonds you get, they have a hard. They're fucking seed. They're hard seeds.
Right.
Coffee, they've gone through a huge process of cooking them and everything, so they're ready to break. They're ready to break.
Right.
So all you're doing is just adding a little bit of force to them, and they'll blend right up.
Like
But you'll notice that there's not a lot of oil in them, so they don't turn into. There's no such thing as a coffee butter.
Oh, right. It's like dry.
It's just a grind.
Yeah,
I'm sure I can make a coffee butter, but it's not. It's going to be granulated. It's not going to taste good.
No.
All right, you have to do a significant process to that. So it's not really that good. The idea that what were we talking about? Okay, so white chocolate technically is not. To me, that's like white chocolate is like Taco Bell ground beef. Okay,
Right.
it kind of is, but it most likely isn't. But it's still delicious at 2 a.m. when you're drunk. So yeah, I fucking eat it.
It's like you get a whole bag of stuff for like $8.72 or something.
Well, I talked about it last week. My sister gave me a huge bag of white chocolate. Now, white chocolate's not cheap.
No, I meant a huge bag of like Taco Bell for like $8.72.
Can you though? Here's the thing: is I noticed that fast food is not cheap anymore. It's not.
No.
With all the things that they're doing, all the R&D, the raising of their wages, and the new these veggie burgers and stuff that are like these impossible. They're not. It's not cheap product.
No. You can go to.
Yeah, it's
Go
not.
to, like the farm down in Elm Street is just the same price you pay at McDonald's.
It's not cheap. Now, here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna say and let me know if I'm veering off course here. We're at 27 minutes. We're fine.
Sure.
I'm gonna say this. If they want to switch, if Burger King, Taco Bell, Wendy's, Arby's, I don't care. If the fast food industry wants to switch everything over to Impossible or Beyond, fine, do it. The reason why is because the food was shit already. The food tasted like shit and was shit for you.
Right.
So if you're gonna switch shit to shit that tastes better but really isn't, and it's probably even worse for you, fine, do it. Because it's not gonna change. It's only gonna change in my mind even more not to eat there.
Right.
Okay, it is. It's not gonna change my mind anymore not to eat there. It's like, okay, well, they don't even have fucking ground beef anymore, so I'm not gonna go and get a double Whopper because they don't make them anymore. They just make these Beyond ones, which bleed, which is weird, and it's full of processed soy ingredients, which I know is bad for you.
Red Lake number 5 or something.
It's only beneficial to me not to eat it anymore. Now, people you can't convince who are fucking retarded, who are just gonna go there and eat it anyways, fine, because then it's not gonna matter.
Right.
Because if I'm going to go and get a burger, I'm going to go and get a actual burger from a place that sells burgers. Like, I'll go to, like, British Beer Company, or Red Robin, or Barley House, or Five Guys even.
Five Guys is not bad.
Five Guys is okay. In-N-Out.
A little squish.
In-N-Out, Smash Burger. Like, I mean, those now, but now at this point...
Wahlburgers is, like...
It's good.
Pretty good.
It is good.
Pretty
no,
good.
like, I've been there.
Really good?
I've been there twice.
Yeah.
I was pleased both times.
Okay.
I opened the bun and Marky Mark's like, "Hi, how you doing? Welcome to Boston Toy." But it's a good burger.
How you like them apples?
And the
Oh, no,
freaking
that's
that's it. Come on, get
Right.
your movie straight up.
Right.
I got a good movie for you to check out. We got one we're discussing. We'll breeze through it. It's good. It's dark. Like a dak.
The Black Swan?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let
nice.
me go track. Okay. Yes, two times I went to Wahlburgers. One time I went with my former roommate, Beth.
Yeah.
Who got married, as you guys already know. Check out Hitch and Run on my YouTube channel. We went there. It was great. And they were at Hingham, which is like fucking forever and a day from here.
Yeah.
They got closer to Boston now, I think, and great. That's awesome. They're really
still
good.
like an hour from here, isn't it?
Yeah, but go to Boston, fuck
The
it.
same.
Yeah. But it is good. Like,
Yeah.
it's an actual good burger, and they use real beef, and the place is clean.
Yep.
The place is clean, and they're all over the U.S. now. So, yeah. But if they change everything over to vegan options or whatever, fuck, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'll
Because
go there.
here's the thing. All right, great. You're not using any more meat products, so that means you're not slaughtering any more cows, which means the factory farming industry is no longer inappropriately killing this many animals to appease your shitty profit margin of making shitty food for shitty people. Now you're going to feed shitty people shitty soy. Good for shitty you.
Right.
So now
And we could call it Thunburgers.
Fun burgers?
Greta Thunberg.
Okay.
We're saving the planet one burger at a time.
Congratulations, because you're eating shitty food, Australia is still on the map. I'm surprised we haven't
They're
seen.
burning it down themselves.
I'm surprised we don't see any koala meat on the menu right now, because
Right.
there should be plenty of those
There
cookie
should be
crisps
tons
out
of
there. But here's my thing.
They've arrested 200 people for arson down there in Australia, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it's not climate change. There's people setting these fires.
Well, I haven't really looked at
Crazy.
it. I just saw a picture on a map. I'm like, yep, this ain't getting discussed on my podcast. I'm like, I'm not diving into this fucking shit
Yeah,
show.
that's gonna get deep.
Because yeah. What I will, as far as a person who is concerned globally for certain things.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with, as I just stated, all these shitty restaurants moving to shitty food for shitty people, because then it's going to take a lot of the stress away from these industries that are for my nutritional needs and my nutritional requirements and requests.
Yeah.
All right, well, we need to up our. We're not shitty killing all these cows. We can now we should up our standards to a piece of the people that still eat our food, and the companies that are willing to pay better money for better product. We're going
Right.
to treat these animals better, okay, and give them better overall lives. Now, if it comes to lab grown meat, okay, fine, we'll deal with that when it comes to it. I do have concerns about that, like anything else.
Right.
But okay, fine. Better world for the individual, not a better world for the collective, because there's no such thing. We're not a fucking hive. The idea, though, that because all these crappy restaurants are switching to shittier products, and because and the animals are better treated and have a better environment, there's more attention paid to them, great. That means I'm getting a better nutritional source, which means I'm going to feel better, and overall I'm perfectly fine with that. The idea that the supply and the demand, okay, it's just how it is.
Right.
That is. There's a thought I'm trying to formulate it in my head, but just isn't there yet. But the idea that if a better product comes out of it, of the sources that I know factually, scientifically to be better for me,
Right.
okay, fine. Because I don't want all the products that I have at the grocery store to be shitty meat. And I do try to balance my diet out. Like there's a lot of plant. I eat a ton of vegetables. Oh, the crickets. What about the crickets? But I did. I found a fucking huge cricket in my kale one day.
Wow.
Poor bastard. So
It's good protein.
you're not gonna eat that. You can't eat that, dude. That thing is in there for a reason. It got hit with some Monsanto and died.
Probably, yeah, right?
But mixing those two, if overall people, I think overall people decide they're going to eat better the right way, a lot of these animals are going to get better treatment overall as well. And I think you will, depending upon what the facts are, being better for the environment. However, there are other things that are helping with that situation as well. I'm trying to be general about it because I don't want to dive into certain things, and I don't want to get bitched out on my email because of certain fucking things that maybe aren't factually accurate or you don't think they are. Look, just shut the fuck up, okay? I do well with the things that I do well because I start with the basics.
Right.
I eat basic. I wake up. I always fast for 12 hours no matter what. I would prefer 15 or 16, but we'll do with 12. 12 is you always fast. Actually, you always fast for 12 hours before you go in for blood work because your glucose levels are at its minimum. Okay? And then you go to the gym, which means you're already in a fasted state, which means your body's looking for sources that it already has. And if you have a cleaner mind, if you have a cleaner body, you have a cleaner mind. I try not to overeat on my proteins because protein at the end of the day doesn't contain high energy levels. And if you eat too much protein, you go into genesis. That's a shorter version of the actual words, like glucogenesis, which takes the proteins, the amino acids, and uses them as energy. You don't get your energy from your protein, okay, for the most part. When people are on the carnivore diet, well, you have to take in they're only eating meat, but they're eating meat with high amounts of fat. And they're frying it in like olive oil or tallow. Tallow it's animal fat.
Yep.
So rendered. What was I going with that? So I have a basic line. My supplementation, magnesium, coffee. Coffee is a supplement, basically, because it has very little nutritional value.
Right.
It has no caloric value, but it has a supplemental value because it has caffeine, which is a supplement, and it has potassium, which is a supplement, and it's granular, so it's a fiber. So it has those values to it. Magnesium, on top of that, helps with potassium and helps nutrients get to the muscles better when you take magnesium. My other supplements I take are Alpha Brain, which is a neuro. It's just helps me think better. I take it before I go to sleep. You can take it when you wake up. That's fine. And then after I eat, I'll take a vitamin C chewable.
Neurotropic, right?
Nootropic? Yeah, I think it's
nootropic,
considered a nootropic.
Yeah.
So that's about as far as I go. You can take other things like if you are switching from a carb-based diet to like a keto or a lower carb-based diet. A smart decision to do is even for a limited period of time, take like a probiotic because you're switching. Your stomach has to adjust your gut biome, your bacteria. There may not be as many of the bacteria that you want in your body to digest the food that you're now eating. So what you do is you take a probiotic.
Yeah.
Probiotic can help with that process, and it will also reduce bloating because if you don't, the bloating is from that inflammation. And it's like yeast. You have the proper bacteria to eat the food that you are currently eating. You can ditch the fucking probiotics after that because they're in your system, basically.
Right.
Acidophilus, I don't necessarily know if it's the same thing, but you want to go for a probiotic. And whether you buy ones that you stick in the fridge or ones that you keep in your cupboard next to your Fleischmann's, I don't know. It's up to you. I've seen bodybuilders literally just eat fucking yeast. Like, eat Fleischmann's. Instead of a probiotic, they eat Fleischmann's. They need it. They're like sewer pits.
Crazy.
So I keep it relatively basic, and it's not like I'm sacrificing anything for the good of the planet, per se, but in the end I kind of am because I am keeping my carbon footprint low, okay? Right. Would I continue to drive my Mustang? Absolutely. Would I prefer to be driving on like E85 ethanol? Yes, I would. Would I switch it over to an electric? Probably not. Would I switch it over to a hybrid? Maybe. But at the end of the day, that's a muscle car. It will always be a muscle car, and it will always be my muscle car. And yes, I will park it next to my Tesla because Teslas are fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then as far as balance goes, I'm not gonna go on a carnivore-based diet. I'm not gonna do that. But I am gonna do like a 50-50 rule. I'm gonna have my basic fats, and I'm gonna do my basic meats, and I'm gonna try to keep them as clean as possible. And I'm not gonna try to go to fast food and support that thing because I don't need it. I drink good coffee from good sources because they're sustainable, there's fair trade roasts and stuff like that. That's important. There is an over-demand, and that over-demand can hurt the supply, and it can hurt the people supplying it.
Right.
Okay? Just remember, ladies, that ring on your finger, some pygmy died digging that out of a fucking hole. Okay? So for you to say, I do, and ruin some guy's life. That's where that ring came from. Just to let you know, somebody probably died in a mining explosion to put that stupid rock in your finger. Or the Chinese made some synthetic ones and fucked up the whole market. So take that into account. The chances are that ring on your finger probably got some blood on it. Just to let you know. So be nice.
Well, electric cars.
Electric cars are the same thing.
To a certain degree, yeah.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay with that balance because if you have a little bit of oil, a little bit of lithium, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you're not pulling too much from the same pool.
Right.
Remember there's a movie called There Will Be Blood. Remember when he talks about if you have a milkshake, I have a milkshake, and my milkshake reaches all the way across the room, I drink your milkshake. But he's pulling from two different pools, and he's drying them up.
Yep.
But if we're pulling from one pool and another pool, but they're completely different products, we can balance this out. We can leave a shorter footprint, and I think it's fine. There's the guy who's making that basically that ocean net that's cleaning up all the plastic. Great, let's do that. If you can fucking walk somewhere instead of you sticking your fat ass in your Ford Escort, great. Why don't you do that? The idea is there's a lot that you can do just as an individual to not only better yourself, but better your situation around you. If you treat your property like you live on a piece of property, you live in an apartment, keep it clean.
Right.
People walk by your car every day. What do they see in the back seat? A giant disheveled mess, or do they just see a nice thing with maybe a coat in the back? That's it. It's nice and clean. Therefore, people see that.
They say how you do anything is how you do everything, at least to some degree.
Right. So if you walk somebody, I'm preaching this one right here. If somebody walks by your car and sees a shitty car, like the interior is a mess, that puts them in a bad mood. I can almost guarantee you, somebody walks by your car and sees a shit up interior, they're now in a bad mood because of you.
Right.
Absolutely. If I walk into a place looking, my clothes are ratty, ripped up and stuff like that, I'm unshaven, that's going to put them in a shitty mood because that means I'm not taking myself seriously, which means I'm not taking my environment seriously. And I just put everybody else in a bad mood.
It's like 90% of the shoppers at Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm actually trying my best not to go in there as much. There are some things, but they're not low prices anymore. They just have bulk product.
They don't even have the selection I used to have.
Well, I go to TJ Maxx, like for my hair product,
yeah.
I can go and get my product at TJ Maxx for half the price. $17, I can go and spend it at freaking Walmart, or I can go find it at TJ Maxx for like $8.99.
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm picky with my hair product. I couldn't find it because of the New Year's, basically, or because of Christmas. They went in, they blew out everything, so I couldn't find my products. I had to use another one, so I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know where my hair product comes from. I don't know. No idea. But did you see CES? It's the new expo, consumer expo. The Sony talked about like environment shit because I know we're rambling, but this freaking podcast is all about rambling anyways. We're at 4151. Sony electric car.
As opposed to 5150.
5150 and
wait,
5150. What was I talking? Oh, I think it's a New Era hat. I think my Yankees hat is a New Era hat. I think it's called 5150. No, wait, not 5150.
It's the police code out in California for a crazy person.
It's also a Van Halen album.
That's where they ended up to.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Sony electric car. It actually looks like the Tesla Model 3. It looks a lot like the Tesla Model 3.
Oh, I saw some concept car. Not that one, but there is some concept car that I was like, I wish that was real.
Yeah, it comes with a PlayStation 5 and a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog. So this
is like
it's a cool looking car.
Remember that show they had Pimp My Ride where they had like all the TV sets?
Those cars are trash now. Those cars are fucking trash now.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason he did that program is because his rapping career was dead in the water.
Right. That was Exhibit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exhibit. Wasn't exhibited. Let me read this first part. Sony took Las Vegas by surprise on Monday when it used the CES press conference to debut a fully baked concept car. Built to showcase and test. This is actually a smart idea on Sony's part. I mean, they're already killing it. I'll talk about them in a second. Test its new connected platform, Vision S. Its electric car prototype isn't necessarily supposed to be an indication of Sony's ambitions to sell its own cars, at least anytime soon. It was built by Sony AI and robotics team, same crew that makes the cute dog AI Aibo. I hate fucking robo dogs. The concept doesn't even have a name just yet. Called Safety Cocoon. Vision S. Anything special about it? Expect to see. Okay. It also incorporates Sony's 360 reality audio to provide an immersive audio experience. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. The only problem is I don't want to be driving around one of those smart speakers because I don't trust those things, as you know.
Right.
But I think it's cool. I think Sony would actually. A Sony car. I would drive a Sony car. I already use Sony products like my backup camera now is a Sony Alpha. It's an NEX 5T, which nobody uses anymore because after 15 minutes they overheat and turn off.
Right.
But it's a sweet camera because it's mirrorless. It has an interchangeable lens, so I can go out and buy another lens for it anytime.
Yep.
They're older, which means they're cheaper. You can buy them for $200 pre-owned. They shoot in 1080p resolution. They take amazing photos, and you can buy external parts for them, external mics and stuff like that. You can use them as an HDMI. Hook them up to your TV if you want. That's my backup camera now. And they're super lightweight, which means it's not... Ugh. But my new one is also a Sony. I went out and bought a Sony AX33 Handycam, which shoots in 4K with four more megapixels than the... So my Sony Alpha is 16.4, and my AX33 is 20.6. And you can also buy shoe products for it, so you can get like a Rode microphone or a bigger flash. So for $40, I went and got a Rode microphone on it, and it has all kinds of plugs and additions to it, and it sits very nicely on top of my new wireless, my new gimbal stabilizer. So it's a full. So I'm fucking on a different platform now as far as shooting, and I can switch. I'll shoot with that thing for like a minute or two, stop, pull my Sony Alpha, use that if I want to get in really tiny areas.
Yep.
You know, it's durable. So, and I'm using that with a client right now where I'm switching off between the two. And I don't have to take it off the gimbal. The other one's sitting on a perch and I can run with that. Plus, when it's a dead time and I'm not shooting video, I can grab the Sony Alpha and take pictures with that. And I had some really great pictures that I shot off the other night. But I do love Sony, and I think the fact they're doing so good with cameras, it's crazy. They weren't shit for a while. Their TVs were way too expensive.
Right.
Their speaker systems were way too expensive. However, the thing with Sony's is they lasted forever. And I didn't really think about it. All my cameras are Sony. My old Handycam was a Sony. That stereo system in there is from 1992. And that TV is a Sony, actually. That TV is fucking ancient, dude. That TV's running on a DVI. That has no actual HDMI input in it. It has an adapter in it. It has an actual adapter in it. But that stereo system's from 1992. It pounds. My speaker system, my smart speaker in the kitchen is a Sony and works quite nicely. Actually, you know what's funny? It takes like batteries, like AA batteries, something like that.
No kidding.
Yeah, so there's no USB charger on it. It's plugged into the wall.
Yep.
But it's perfect, and it was cheap. And now they're coming up. Now they come in here in a market that was dominated by Nikon and Canon. They're killing it now. They're making shitty laptops. Now they're making amazing cameras. Amazing cameras. They're putting Nikon in a real pickle. As far as Nikon was in the photography game for the longest time. Sony came in and said, "Yeah, we'll take it from here. You can fuck right off, Nikon." And there's a lot of Nikon fans. It's more like a religion now than anything. They're like fucking flat earthers at this point. The idea is that the Sony Alphas can shoot amazing video. They have awesome stabilization. They have stabilization built into their lenses and built into the cameras themselves. That fucking camera right there is, well, first of all, it's a video camera.
Right.
But it also has a built-in eyeball. So it's already sitting on a gimbal stabilizer. But the actual lens is like a magic 8-ball. So it actually moves. When you move, it moves. Just like that.
It's like a built-in gyroscope almost.
Basic, yes.
Yeah.
So you get the stabilization in the electronics of the camera. You get the stabilization in the eyeball, and then you get the stabilization of the gimbal. So it's like basically watching a fucking soap opera at 11 o'clock in the morning. It's super, super smooth.
Right.
So
not always the best acting.
And you know what? It cost me. Now if you go and buy like a brand new Sony A7R, it'll probably cost you like $2,000. I bought that pre-owned for $375.
Wow.
The Rode microphone, which is one of the best microphones you can get on the market, cost me $40. And then the gimbal stabilizer cost me $175. You buy all that shit brand new, good luck to you. Now I do have some about the gimbal stabilizer, but I think for the most part it's going to do the job quite nicely. I'm just having some balancing issues, which is a bitch. That's one thing that people don't realize. When you get these things, you have to balance it, to move certain pieces of the stand.
Calibrate it.
Yeah, it's a fucking pain, and it still gives me some. But who cares? It does the job.
Probably way better than without it, right?
Oh yes, very much so. So now, plus when I'm standing there for these longer moments, I don't get the shaky cam anymore. So that's another thing to consider. And if I was to buy the The two versions up from that is like the news channel type of cameras.
Yeah.
Those don't have built-in optical eyeballs. They don't. You can change the lenses.
Right.
Why the fuck would I want to change the lens on that thing?
Right.
Unless you're constantly breaking lenses, I don't want to change the lens. It has a 120 digital zoom on there.
Sometimes they just people go overboard.
Yes.
It's just like the visual,
it's too heavy.
It's like the visual thing. Like, oh, look what a camera I have.
You do have to have I already have presence because that gimbal stabilizer weighs as much as a goddamn shotgun. All right, but the fact is, I don't want to be carrying a giant. You can't get into certain angles with certain size cameras.
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes you do need to be discreet, and the Sony Alpha, the little guy, does just fine. That has plenty of presence because it has a giant microphone sitting on top of it. It's on top of a gimbal stabilizer, so you can see it. But the giant camera thing, it's just like waving your dick around at this point, and you're not getting the shots that you want to get.
Right.
I want to shove that shit right down the sewer pipe and see what's going on in this dirty little world of ours. How the fuck did we get from shopping at the grocery store? Alright.
That's a good segue, though.
About 10 minutes.
Alright.
10. We'll do 10 to... Yeah, about 10 minutes. Did you... I just want to quick... Before we get into some Q&A, did anything happen with that? I know you were trying to get a statue going in Pentecost.
Still working on it.
Still working on it?
Yeah, that's gonna be a...
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of moving parts to get that going. But once it's there, it's a statue. I mean, it'll be there for years.
Yeah, almost like take it down like Saddam.
Well, right. Well, the statue...
Fuck you, Morton!
The statue of the woman, the first woman in the United States to get a statue, Hannah Dustin, that one has been there since 1874. So... That's already been there 100 and...
Well, it's a lot of rock. You're not going to move it.
40 years or whatever.
I mean, nowadays...
Oh, jeez. That thing's like 40 feet tall, 32 feet tall or something.
We're going to go take down the statue. I don't know. It's Saturday. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm not up for a statue raising.
No, they've done a little bit of graffiti on it.
I got to pick up the kids. And so what? A little bit of graffiti. Just spray a little... Just throw a little gasoline on there. It'll wipe right off.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do when I used to overspray on my windshield and windows and stuff like that. You just take a little gasoline, wipes everything off.
Right.
You put a little gasoline, I don't wipe off your criminal record. That shit is awesome. your car smells for a while. Don't smoke. Don't smoke in the convertible.
Don't smoke.
All right, and to support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. I want to finish up with some Q&A here. I got to take off at 3:30. I got a client I got to go bang heads with. Johnny's got some shit he's got to do.
You gotta go buy some food.
Yeah, you gotta go buy some food. So to
eat
finish on that, just do the horseshoe. Start with produce, make your way around, and you generally end up in the frozen vegetables and in the dairy section. End there, and then before you go to the cash register, if you want to peek into one of those aisles real quick to either get coffee or get olive oil, that's it. You're good. And then you've completely avoided the chips, the sodas, the salsas,
the carbs, the shit,
the
salt, the sugar.
Yeah, because dude, once you see that box of Ritz crackers, the sour cream and onion, dude, game over, dude.
They got 2 new flavors.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I ate them all. I ate every single one of them. They're delicious. So, all right.
If they made chocolate Pringles, you would eat them.
I think I made chocolate Pringles. Actually, I was supposed to do.
What did you do at midnight?
They had. What did I just eat? Well, I know that
somebody made a chocolate potato chip.
Well, they made birthday cake confetti goldfish. I do know that. Goldfish?
I've seen that.
Yeah,
yes.
Birthday cake confetti.
Yes, I've seen that. It's
the pizza flavor ones were crazy enough for me. I'm like, that's amazing. Right. But then, that's the problem. When I hit that section where they have like the Cheez-It crisps and the Pringles,
right,
and the goldfish and the Milano cookies, game over, dude. I'm done. I literally went and bought brownie mix and Milano cookies and took the raspberry Milano cookies and put them in the brownie mix, baked the brownies, took it out of the oven. I said, I can't have this in the house, and went and broke into my friend's house and left them a huge thing of brownies and a box of ice cream.
I remember that.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't have this. I cannot have this in my house, and immediately excommunicated it just across town. You fucking deal with it. I didn't even tell them there was cookies in the brownies. There was cookies in the brownies. Did you double dip the chip? How can I set my boundaries with a man at church who... Oh, I don't want to read that one.
No.
And it's about a pedophile at church. I've never heard of such a concept. Alright. Was I a jerk for sending my twin brother to my in-laws' Christmas party to prove a point? I am 31, I have a reading disorder. I am 31. I have an identical twin brother. For a while, I've told my wife about none of her family members notice me or care about anything that I do on Christmas Eve, but they insist on me attending. Boo fucking who? You have any idea how not getting noticed on Christmas is one of the greatest gifts you could ever get?
Oh,
So, are you married? You gonna have any kids soon? Are you gonna do all this? I mean, no, you don't want anybody asking you, how's everything going? Fine, leave me alone. I'm gonna go over and eat some of the fucking broccoli with the ranch dressing. Leave me alone. She told me that's not true. They generally like me and enjoy talking to me. No, they like you. They think you're great. They just think you're a little weird. But I know that only times they've included me, I've had to basically insert myself into conversation and it feels awkward and unnatural. Well, don't fucking insert yourself, stupid. That means they don't want to talk to you. So I had a wager with my wife. Bring my twin brother Steve instead of me and see if anyone notices. I purposely did not prep Steve on anything. He went in completely clueless. In quotations, he knew why we were doing it and was game. I gave him $20. As I suspected, Steve confirmed that he wasn't approached all night. Nobody could tell him he wasn't me. And he admitted he even felt excluded and he could only imagine how I felt. So this morning on Christmas, I invited Steve to join. In quotations. Normally he's with my mom and dad every year as he's not married or in a relationship. They know about him, obviously, but didn't know about the switcheroo. That was when I revealed that last night I was Steve and expressed disappointment that nobody noticed and said this is why I stopped trying. Nobody talks to me. My wife drew the line here. She was hoping we would keep his between us and there's a funny prank. How can I expect family to see what jerks they have been if I don't expose it? Why did you have to go and fuck it all up? Why you're okay? If you're suspicious, but there's smoke, there's fire. If nobody talks to you, that means you're not interesting. So why would you go and insert an additional non-interesting person into the foray? Okay, because now not only are you an asshole, but Steve's an asshole too. So hashtag fuck Steve.
Right, fuck Steve. You know what's going to be the next thing to happen to this guy? He's going to say, I'm 31. I'm divorced.
I'm divorced.
And I live in a van down by the river.
Because my wife divorced me, took half the money and the house.
And Steve.
And she married Steve. Yeah, you shouldn't have said anything, dude. And honestly, if you are that uninteresting and the family doesn't talk to you, you can do one of two things. You can either become interesting, or you can become invisible and just stop going. Dude, there's nothing like fucking peace and quiet on the holidays. There's nothing better than not listening to have them. Like I come from a family that loves. There was always arguments and superficial bullshit at a dinner table at times. Sometimes my dad would, throw like a dinner plate or something, but that's besides the point. Revealing. So, peace and quiet during the holiday season, just chilling out, maybe sipping like a little bit of something. It's the best. You just want to fucking disconnect. You don't want to have to argue about anything or tell about your plans or argue politics or anything like that. So the fact that you were not being bothered at all on Christmas and you're just sitting there petting the dog, dude, if you're the guy at the party petting the dog, you know everything.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's the only one that knows. That's the only one that knows.
The guru comes to you.
You want to talk about sports?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Brady. He's done. He's fine. He's done. Who cares?
Selling his house. For a mere $32 million.
A mere $32 million. Yeah, he's done all right. He's got 2 hot kids, 1 hot wife, 1 hot career, going to the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest NFL players of all time. So this is one thing you really want to discuss. And plus, you can't firm together a logical argument when you're already like 3 bourbons deep. Okay, the devil's juice. You can't get into anything like that because you're already compromising your thoughts with the amount of food that you're eating at a party or a family get-together. You're already compromising your thoughts with the amount of alcohol that you're drinking when you get together. You haven't seen your family in a year because you don't want to talk to them about your problems or tell them that you're gay. I'm not saying me. I'm just saying in general. You don't want to spry anything on them in general. You don't want... So the idea of just having a nice, quiet... John, you haven't said anything all night. I'm just enjoying the peace and quiet. And it's like, and plus, I don't want people asking me what I'm doing. I don't want people pressuring. Like, if I had to listen to my fucking mother, I shut that down real quick about, I want grandchildren. Like, we fucking get them from me, bitch. So,
You got other siblings.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got other. I'm like, who cares? Deal with it. The bloodline ends here. So, I think the peace and quiet. The fact all you did was piss off your wife. All you did was make more people hate you.
Right.
All right. I do that on a daily basis. But when I go to an actual Christmas party, I either A, keep my mouth shut, or B, become life of the party. All right. There's no in between.
No.
Because otherwise,
it's boring.
You're boring or you're annoying.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be unless I'm looking for an audience. I don't want to do something like this.
That's the reality of
you're
Thanksgiving.
boring.
It's not the tryptophan. It's the
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that.
Tired.
You're fucking boring, dude. Nobody pays attention to you. Great. Go find something else to do. Sit down and pet the dog.
I go find the recliner so I can kick back.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best. It's the best thing ever. And what you really did, I mean, it's Christmas Eve. All you did was just stir up a whole bunch of shit. Because what you just said that it's like living a lie.
Well, he's kind of proven the point of why nobody wants to talk to him.
Yeah, the reason you don't do this because you're a fucking asshole.
Because how you do anything is how you do everything to some degree.
And originally I was kind of on his side as far as the family not talking to him.
Right.
Now I'm completely against him.
Yeah.
I think what you
the more you look at,
it's like, dude, you are okay because you're constantly at this point you are completely about yourself.
Right.
And I always say that I'm a sociopath. I'm all about myself. I'm completely paranoid. But I'm not on this level.
No,
And we all know if I had a twin, I would be the superior twin. So, but Steve's an asshole too. Because he took, actually, I don't know if Steve is an asshole. Steve is more of an opportunist because he took the $20.
Right.
It's like, I'm not doing this. I got better things to do. How about $20? I'm in.
Right.
Count me in.
Free food and $20.
And you got to give me gas money too.
Oh.
Well, okay, it's $20 an hour. You got to charge a minimum. So if you say the party is we're just stopping in real quick. Stopping in means you're going to be there for 30 minutes to an hour. That's $20 an hour plus either tip for completion of party or gas money. So figure like $5-10. So you got to pay Steve a minimum of $30. And then every hour on top of that is an additional $20. If you're gonna fake this, you got to pay hourly.
He's got a commodity. There's only like one other person in the world that looks like this guy.
Yeah.
His twin.
You mean he's got to pay a premium?
Yeah, you can't just pull somebody off the street and say, "Hey, you want to pretend that you're me?"
Yeah. Steve must be homeless or something. So the idea that so he's got to pay a premium. Also, if he's got to bring something to the party, which is kind of a thing nowadays, the whole potluck Christmas Eve type of thing.
Yeah.
You got to pay a premium, and you got to pay for whatever he brings. If he brings a bottle of wine, if he brings a veggie platter, if he brings a cake, if he makes something at home, you got to reimburse him for that.
You gotta wonder, is Steve kind of a geek too then? Maybe that's why they didn't even notice. Like,
well, they don't.
Okay,
first of all, remember, Steve never met these people really.
Yeah.
Steve hasn't met these people. So he was a wallflower. He's never met these people.
He probably doesn't have a different personality either, though.
I don't know. They do say that twins are generally really mentally
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finish each other's sentences.
I think this dude, Steve 1. Well, obviously Steve 2 is the one who went to the party. Steve 1's a dick.
Right.
I would say 90% because I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe the family doesn't pay attention to him. But I'm gonna say for the most part, he's uninteresting. He's boring. He's annoying. He is the leech of the wife. He leeches off the wife. He probably works at GameStop. He's a fucking loser.
Well, it's like that expression they say, well, things happen for a reason. Well, yeah, but that reason's probably because you're a loser.
Yeah, he's a loser. He's
probably fucked up. He's did something stupid. That's why things happen. He's not
in shape. He's not even pretty to look at. He doesn't have a salesman's smile. Hi, how you doing? Want to buy IKEA? I don't have any.
High five, the guy from Seinfeld.
I think that
key $100. Key? Well, you got to start the car.
I remember that. Yeah, you got to start it. The Steve 1.
Prep charges.
100%. Yeah, it's on you, dude. You need to become more interesting. You can't claim victim in here, especially with the douche move that you just pulled.
Right.
So I have to say that you're completely at fault, and you have to deal with this every year.
Yeah.
You have to deal with this every year. It's like, it's like not seeing your relatives for like a year or so, and then the next year it's like, dude, you lost weight, you look great. Oh,
maybe in his mind it's like any attention's good attention. So like the next year they have something to talk about him.
Any good press is any press is good press.
Right. So they could bring him into the conversation. Maybe in a bad way, but.
I think he's excommunicated from
like,
at this point.
Remember last year when you brought Steve here?
I don't have to be.
They say, "How do we know that you're not Steve?"
I know. Now it's one of those.
Lift your shirt up or something.
Now it's like a dry office joke at this
Make
point.
him get
Are you the real Steve? Ah!
Yeah, make him get a tattoo.
Yeah, Steve. Scarlet letter, Steve 1. I think that now you're done. Now you're an obligation.
Right.
She's obligated to be married to you for better or for worse, unless you get rich. Then she's going to take half. And then are they obligated to invite you to the next party? I think you fucked up, dude. Something serious. I mean you, but I mean Steve 1. Steve 1 fucked up, and Steve 2, well, I guess Steve 2 should just take over from here, because Steve 1 obviously can do it. Steve 2, I hope, was the best man. Because if this one doesn't work out, you can always just move on to the next one.
Right.
I think that Steve 1's got to go. I think she should just... Okay, here's what should happen. You fucked up. You need to do 2 things. You need to take some penis pills and go get some fucking abs. Because at this point, you have no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Go take some jujitsu, go for running, go do some marathons. Other than that, she should get a divorce, marry Steve 2, and send out the new Christmas cards. I think that's be it. So, I think we should end on that. It's been an hour and 5 minutes.
Like a good one.
If you want to support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount's appreciated. Or you can go to use my link on that website. Go to use the Cash App or the Robinhood app. You get a free stock, and I get a free stock. You probably heard that at the beginning of this thing, but that's fine. Did I get some coffee in my face? No, I'm fine. I got some shit to do, and I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. Another week, another podcast. Stay tuned for Sunday Leftovers on Sunday. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at those. Let me close and get this fucking thing out of here. All right, so we're done. If you guys haven't seen the Ricky Gervais thing up on, go check it on YouTube. Just type in Ricky Gervais YouTube Golden Globes. He tells it like it is, and what it is been going on for a long time. So, Johnny Monotone in the studio. You'll be seeing him again soon. Look out for more guests to come. You can find me on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, anywhere in the world except for China for the most part. Even in Iran, with everything going on, they're all screaming "Death to America." I saw a couple plugs from Iran the other day going, yeah, he's American, but you gotta listen to his podcast. He's not that bad. He's Jewish, but he seems like a decent guy. So, shout out to Iran. Yeah, that's how we're gonna end this podcast on Iran. So, streaming live from the Iran Spare Parts Studios. I will talk to you all next week. Johnny, thank you for stopping by. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation. Boop! Boop! That's how we do it. We'll end this podcast. Finished! And let me close this one.
Alright. I gotta roll. I gotta hit the bathroom.
Yeah, hit the bathroom. Don't hit it too hard.
Real quick.
It's fragile.
3:15, perfect time.
That was a rambler. I'm a rambler. I gotta find a Rambler song. Yeah, end the stream!